Welcome to the quiet space of our community, where sleep stories live. Perhaps it's been a long day, or maybe you just love falling asleep with thoughts of distant space instead of counting elephants. Today we will gently journey to the faraway Kuiper belt, there, where beyond the orbit of Neptune, icy worlds drift, dwarf planets and silent comet bodies. You don't need to do anything right now, just settle in comfortably. Allow your breathing to slow, your thoughts to soften, and your body to become light, as if gravity loosened its grip. We'll go slowly, gently, just one sleepy fact at a time, leaving everything else beyond this night. And before we begin, if these quiet journeys help you relax and gently end your day, touch the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps others find their way here too, as if one by one we light the nighttime candles of calm. And now settle in comfortably and let's begin. Beyond Neptune there is a quiet region. Beyond the orbit of Neptune, at the very edge of our solar system, stretches the Kuiper belt. This is an enormous ring of millions of icy bodies slowly orbiting the sun. They are so far away that from there the sun looks like just a bright star, not a disk. This is the quiet suburb of our planetary home, where time flows more slowly, and cold and calm have reigned for billions of years. Imagine. Nothing changes quickly there. Everything is frozen. Everything is waiting. These are remnants of the solar system's birth. The Kuiper belt is a museum of antiquity. The icy bodies living there preserve the primordial material from which the planets were born 4.5 billion years ago. They have not changed, not melted, not transformed. It's like opening a time capsule and seeing what the world was like at the beginning. Every object there is a witness to the birth, a carrier of memory about the sun's youth. Pluto lives there. Pluto, the former 9th planet, is now the most famous resident of the Kuiper belt. It is small, cold, distant, but beautiful. On its surface there are mountains of water ice, plains of frozen nitrogen, a thin atmosphere that sometimes appears, sometimes disappears. Pluto is not alone. It has 5 moons, the largest of which, Charon, is almost the same size. They orbit each other like dancers in a slow waltz. Sunlight takes more than 4 hours to get there. When a photon flies from the sun, it takes only 8 minutes to reach Earth. But to the Kuiper belt, it flies for more than 4 hours. It's so far that if you could call there, the answer would come in 8 hours. Distance creates silence, isolation, calm. This is a land where haste does not exist, where everything happens at its own pace. The temperature there is around -240 degrees. Cosmic cold reigns in the Kuiper belt. The temperature on the surface of objects is around -240 degrees Celsius, only slightly above absolute zero. But this is not fierce cold, it's calm, stable, freezing. Nothing boils, nothing moves quickly. Molecules barely stir. This is silence at the molecular level, absolute calm of matter. Objects there are made of ice. Bodies in the Kuiper belt are not rock, but ice. Water ice, methane ice, ammonia ice, frozen nitrogen. They are shiny, clean, pristine. These are frozen fragments of the primordial ocean of gas and dust that once surrounded the young Sunday. Every object is an ice crystal in a cosmic freezer, preserving information about ancient times. There are millions of objects there. Astronomers estimate that in the Kuiper belt there are millions of objects larger than 100 kilometers in size. Most of them we haven't yet seen, discovered, or named. They're just there, orbiting the sun, quiet and invisible. This reminds us, the universe is full of mysteries still waiting to be discovered. Not everything is known, not everything is understood, and there is charm in that. The belt stretches from 30 to 50 astronomical units. 1 astronomical unit is the distance from Earth to the Sunday. The Kuiper belt begins approximately at 30 such distances and extends to 50. This is a vast region, much wider than the entire inner solar system. There is room for everything, for millions of worlds, for billions of ice crystals, for boundless silence. Eris is almost as large as Pluto. In the Kuiper belt lives Eris, a dwarf planet nearly equal to Pluto in size. It is even farther, even colder, even lonelier. On its surface lies a thin layer of frozen methane that gleams in the weak sunlight. Eris has a small moon, Dysnomia. They journey together at the edge of the system, a quiet pair in the vastness. Make has a reddish tint. Another dwarf planet, Make, appears reddish. This is the color of organic molecules on its surface, formed under the influence of cosmic radiation. Make orbits the sun in 300 years, slowly and steadily. It is named after the creator god in Easter Island mythology. Even in distant worlds live names, stories, connections with Earth. Haumea rotates very quickly. Haumea is a strange dwarf planet, elongated like an egg. It rotates around its axis in just 4 hours faster than any other large planet in the system. This speed has stretched it, made it asymmetrical. Haumea has 2 small moons and a thin ring of dust around it. It is unique, unusual, full of character. From there, Earth looks like a bright star. If you stood on the surface of Pluto and looked at the sky, you would see the sun as a very bright star, but not a disk, and Earth would be a barely noticeable point next to the Sunday. All the noise, all the worries, all of human history, just a tiny point in the darkness. This is perspective that changes how you see things, that brings peace. There are almost no gravitational disturbances there. The Kuiper belt is a quiet place in the gravitational sense. The giant planets are far away, their influence weak. Objects orbit in nearly circular paths, stable and predictable. Nothing pulls them, deflects them, accelerates them. This is cosmic silence, where gravity is soft, gentle, barely noticeable. Some objects have moons. Many bodies in the Kuiper belt are not alone. They have small moons orbiting them, or are even binary systems where 2 objects of nearly equal size dance around each other. This reminds us, even at the edge of the system, in cold and silence, there is company, there is connection. There are pairs that have held together for billions of years. The color of objects varies from gray to red. Some bodies in the Kuiper belt are gray, like pure ice. Others are reddish due to organic compounds on the surface. There are also brown, yellowish shades. Each color tells its own story about composition, about age, about the influence of cosmic radiation. The Kuiper belt is not uniform grayness, but a palette of subtle shades. each with meaning. Short-period comets are born there. Sometimes a gravitational nudge changes the orbit of an object in the Kuiper belt, and it begins to fall toward the inner solar system. Approaching the Sun, the ice begins to evaporate, forming a tail. A comet is born. This is a journey from silence to light, from cold to warmth. Comets are messengers of the Kuiper belt, bringing us news from the edge of the system. The aphelion of some objects is beyond 100 astronomical units. Some bodies have very elongated orbits. They approach the Sun at Neptune's distance, then move much farther, beyond 100 astronomical units. These are wanderers who spend most of their time in deep silence, then briefly enter warmer regions. Their orbits are long journeys, slow cycles lasting thousands of years. Resonant objects move in sync with Neptune. Some bodies in the Kuiper belt are connected to Neptune by resonance. They make, for example, 2 orbits around the Sun for every 3 that Neptune makes. This is a gravitational dance, synchronization that is held for billions of years. Pluto is also in such resonance. This is an example of order, harmony in space. The scattered disk is even farther. Beyond the classical Kuiper belt is the scattered disk, a region where objects have very inclined and elongated orbits. They go very far. These are the most distant known objects in the solar system, lonely wanderers on the boundary of our home. They show that the edge of the system is blurred, undefined, quietly transitioning into interstellar space. Sedna is a mysterious object. Sedna has one of the strangest orbits. Its closest point to the Sun is 76 astronomical units, and its farthest is 936. A complete orbit takes 11,000 years. Nobody knows exactly how it got into such an orbit. Perhaps once another star passed nearby and nudged it. Sedna is a mystery waiting to be solved. The Kuiper belt is named after an astronomer. Gerard Kuiper, a Dutch-American astronomer, predicted the existence of this belt back in the mid-20th century. He reasoned logically. If planets formed from a disk of matter, then at the edge there should remain fragments that didn't manage to gather into a planet. His prediction was confirmed when the first objects began to be discovered in the 1990s. Kuiper's name now lives at the edge of the system. The New Horizons probe visited the Kuiper belt. In 2015, the New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto and sent the first detailed images. Then, later, it reached the object Arakoth, a small, icy body resembling 2 connected snowballs. This was the first encounter with a typical resident of the belt. The images showed it's quiet, cold, beautiful there. Arakoth looked like an ice crystal frozen in time from the primordial cloud. Arakoth consists of 2 parts. Arakoth has the shape of a snowman, 2 round lobes gently connected. This shows that once 2 separate objects slowly collided and merged. There was no explosion, no destruction, just a soft touch, a gentle union. Speeds there are so low that collisions are more like embraces. The surface of objects is very old. There are fewer craters on the bodies of the Kuiper belt than expected. This means there are few events, few collisions there. The surface of some objects may be billions of years old, almost unchanged since the formation of the system. This is silence not only in space, but also in time. Nothing happens, nothing is destroyed, everything is preserved. Ice there is hard as rock. At very low temperatures, water ice becomes as hard as granite. Methane ice also doesn't melt, doesn't move. Objects in the Kuiper belt are icy rocks that don't know the liquid state. They are frozen forever, stable, unchanging. This is the strength, reliability, calm of matter. Atmospheres there are thin and variable. Some larger objects, like Pluto, have thin atmospheres of nitrogen and methane. But when they move away from the sun, the atmosphere freezes and settles on the surface. When they approach, it evaporates again. This is the breathing of planets, a slow cycle that repeats every 200 years. The atmosphere comes and goes, like a tide. There are no volcanoes or tectonics there. In the Kuiper belt, there is no activity like on Earth or Io. There are no volcanoes erupting lava, no plates moving. Everything is calm, frozen, motionless. The only activity is the slow evaporation of ice under weak sunlight, and even that rarely. This is geological, planetary, absolute silence. Some objects have rings. Haumea has a thin ring of dust around it. Perhaps there are other objects with rings that we haven't yet detected. Rings form when a small moon breaks up, or when an object rotates so fast that it ejects material. Even in small worlds, there is beauty, structure, form. Gravity there is weak. On Pluto, the largest known object in the belt, gravity is 15 times weaker than on Earth. If you could jump there, you would fly high and fall back slowly. On smaller objects, gravity is even weaker. You could jump and fly off into space. These are worlds where everything is light, where weight is hardly felt. A day there can last weeks. Many objects rotate slowly. A day on Pluto lasts almost 6 Earth days. On other objects, it may be even slower. Imagine, dawn comes in a week, and then day lasts a week. Time there flows differently, stretched out, majestically. Stars from there are brighter. Without atmosphere, without light pollution, without clouds, stars in the sky above the Kuiper belt shine clean and bright. The Milky Way spills in a wide band, every star clear. This is a perfect place for observing the universe. If someone could stand there and look, the sky there is a treasure for an astronomer. There is radio frequency silence there. On Earth, we are surrounded by radio noise. In the Kuiper belt, there is none of that. Only weak natural radio emissions from the sun and distant stars. This is silence at all frequencies, electromagnetic calm. If someone wanted to hear real space, they should fly there. Meteorites from there rarely reach Earth. Most meteorites that fall to Earth come from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. From the Kuiper belt, almost nothing reaches us too far, too cold, too stable orbits.
Welcome to the quiet
Objects
space
there
of our
stay in
community,
place,
where
don't
sleepy
disturb
stories
the inner
live.
system. They
Maybe
live
it's
their
been a
own
long
lives,
day,
don't
or perhaps
interfere.
you just love falling
Organic
asleep
molecules
with
are
thoughts about
preserved
distant space
unchanged.
instead of counting elephants.
In the
Today
cold
we'll
of the
gently
belt,
travel from our
complex
small planet
organic
to the
molecules
Milky Way
don't
and
break
beyond,
down. They
into
can
the
lie on the
vast
surface
structure
for
of the
billions of
universe,
years,
where galaxies
preserving
are connected
information
in
about
threads,
early
walls,
chemical
and
processes.
invisible webs of
This is a
dark matter.
library of
You don't
prebiotic
need to
chemistry,
do anything right now.
an archive
Just
of
settle
molecules
in
that may have
comfortably. Let your
participated in the
breathing
origin
slow
of
down.
life.
Let your thoughts soften.
Every
and your
object
body
is a
become
data
light,
capsule
as
about
if
the
gravity
past.
has loosened its
There
grip.
may be even larger
We'll go
objects there.
slowly.
Astronomers
Gently.
suspect that in the
Just
Kuiper
one
belt there may
sleepy
be
fact at a
objects the
time,
size of Mars
leaving
that we haven't
everything
yet
else
found.
beyond the boundaries of
They are
this night.
dark, distant,
And before we begin,
hard to notice.
if these quiet
Perhaps somewhere
journeys
there is
help you
Planet 9,
relax and
a
gently
hypothetical
end your
large
day,
planet hiding at
please
the edge of
tap
the system.
like button and
This reminds
subscribe
us,
to the channel.
even in our own
It helps
backyard,
others
there
find
is
their
room
way
for
here,
mysteries.
As if
The
one by
Kuiper
one
belt
we're
is not
lighting
the end of the
nighttime
system.
beacons of calm.
Beyond the belt
And
is the
now,
Oort cloud,
settle
even
in
farther,
comfortably and let's
an
begin.
even more
We
mysterious
live on a
region from
small
which
sphere
long-period
with a
comets
diameter
arrive.
just over 12,000
It begins at
kilometers.
2,000 astronomical
If you imagine
units
Earth as
and
a grain
extends
of sand,
almost to other
then
stars.
even our solar system
The solar
becomes a
system has
small
no clear
neighborhood in a
edge.
gigantic cosmic
It slowly
city.
dissolves into
This
interstellar
doesn't
space.
diminish our significance,
The boundary
but
is
rather
blurred,
adds a sense of freedom.
soft.
We're part of something
Undefined.
very large and
There may
peaceful.
be frozen lakes there.
Now,
On
let's
some
look at
larger
exactly
objects,
how
there
these
may
immense
exist depressions
distances are
filled
measured.
with frozen
An
nitrogen or
astronomical
methane,
unit is
something
the average
like lakes,
distance from Earth
but
to the
solid
Sun.
as glass.
It equals
Under weak
approximately
sunlight, they gleam,
150 million
create
kilometers.
reflections.
But
This
it's
is
more
not
convenient
water,
for us to
but
think
it is
of it
beauty,
as one step
form,
outside the house
diversity.
on the scale of the solar system.
Even in a frozen world,
All the
there are
planets
landscapes.
move as if on rings
The color
around a
of the
lantern,
sky there
and
is
these
black.
rings are conveniently measured
Without
in
atmosphere,
exactly such
the
steps.
sky above the Kuiper belt
And
is
then comes
always
a unit
black,
that's suitable
even
not
when
for
the sun
planets,
is shining.
but for interstellar
Stars
distances.
are visible day and
A
night.
light year is the
This is
distance
another
that
reality,
light travels in
where the
one
sky
year
is not
through
blue
the
but
void.
black, where
Light
day
is
doesn't
very
drown
fast,
out the stars.
but even it needs years
This is
to pass
perspective
from one
that changes
star to
understanding
another.
of what
You
the
can
sky
imagine
is.
this as a thin thread
Distances
that
between
someone pulls
objects are
through the
enormous.
darkness, very
Although there are
slowly
millions
unwinding
of
a ball
objects
of
in the
yarn.
belt, they are scattered over such a large area that distances between them are colossal. If you stood on one object, the nearest neighbor would be farther than the moon from Earth. This is loneliness, space, silence. Every world exists in its isolation, separately, calmly. There are no artificial satellites there. No spacecraft has remained in the Kuiper belt. New Horizons flew past and continued its journey farther into interstellar space. There are no artificial signals there, no human presence. Only nature, only space, only silence. This is one of the last untouched corners of the system. Orbits are stable for billions of years. Most objects move in orbits that hardly change. They will orbit the same way for billions more years. This is predictability, stability, reliability. In a world where everything changes, the Kuiper belt is a place of constancy, where time preserves. Sunlight there is 1,000 times weaker. At a distance of 40 astronomical units, the sun shines almost 1,000 times weaker than on Earth. But it is still brighter than the full moon in our sky. Enough to see, enough to feel the sun's presence. The Kuiper belt is still part of the system, still under the care of our star, though far away. There are no seasons in the Earth sense there. Due to the enormous distance from the sun and the slowness of rotation, objects in the belt do not have seasons like on Earth. Temperature hardly changes throughout the year. Everything is always equally cold, equally quiet. This is monotony, but in it there is peace, absence of sharp changes, predictability. Some objects are redder due to tholins. Tholins are complex organic molecules formed under the influence of ultraviolet and cosmic rays. They give the surface a reddish or brownish color. This is a kind of cosmic tan, a trace of radiation exposure over billions of years. Every red object carries the history of its irradiation. It's standing under the stars. There are almost no magnetic fields there. Most objects in the belt are small and cold. They have no liquid core that generates a magnetic field. They are magnetically silent, don't interact with the solar wind. This is magnetic silence, absence of invisible forces. Objects simply exist, not creating fields, not influencing the space around them. Collisions there are rare and slow. When two objects collide in the belt, it happens at low speeds. Sometimes they bounce off, sometimes they stick together. These are not dramatic events, but quiet encounters that change shape but don't destroy. Even in collisions, there is gentleness there. Dust in the belt is very rarefied. Between objects drifts cosmic dust, tiny particles that chip off from larger bodies or remain from ancient collisions. But there is very little of this dust. It's rarefied. The space between worlds is almost empty, clean, transparent. This is not fog, but crystal clarity. Some objects have inclined orbits. Most objects orbit approximately in the plane of the planets, but some have orbits inclined at tens of degrees.
Ends of these threads.
They move at an
nearest
angle to the
stars.
rest of the system,
The closest
like
star to
dancers
us
who
after
chose their own
the
rhythm.
Sun is
This is
Proxima
diversity,
Centauri,
individuality,
about
deviation
4
from the norm that
change
makes the
light
belt
years
more
away.
interesting.
And the
There is no
nearest
wind
large
there.
galaxy is
Without
Andromeda,
atmosphere on
and its
objects,
light
there is no
travels
wind
to
that
us
carries
for over
dust
2.5
or forms
million
dunes.
years.
Everything
We
that
see it
lies
as it
on the
was when
surface
humans
lies
didn't even
motionless
exist
for
on Earth
millions
yet.
of years.
And this is just the
A
beginning
trace
of the
left a
journey
billion years
outward.
ago will
Further
still
on,
be
the
there,
structure becomes
unchanged.
even more amazing.
This is perfect
Take
memory,
a slow breath
absolute
in
preservation
and
of
an
the
equally slow
past.
breath out. Imagine
Photographing
that with
the
each
belt is
exhale, you're
difficult.
floating away from
Objects
Earth a
are
little
dark,
further,
distant,
but at the
small.
same time,
To
you
find
feel
them
safe,
requires powerful
as if in a
telescopes
soft
and
boat.
much patience.
Galaxies
Astronomers
are
take a series of images of one patch of sky
They gather in
and look for
clusters
points that
and
move.
clusters into
This is slow,
superclusters, which
painstaking
stretch for
work.
hundreds of
Every
millions of
discovery
light
is the
years.
result of years
If
of
you
effort.
look at these scales,
The belt doesn't
the
give up
universe
its
resembles
secrets
a
easily,
three-dimensional
but
web
it gives them to
where
those who are
galaxies
patient.
beads on
There
thin
may be
threads.
Trojan objects there,
And we live in one
some
of these
bodies
beads,
move in the orbits
in a
of
quiet
large
corner
planets,
of this
60
cosmic
degrees
network.
ahead or behind.
The largest structures
These are
we
Trojans.
notice are superclusters
Neptune has
of
Trojans that are
galaxies.
technically
They
part of
don't
the
hold
Kuiper
together
belt.
as tightly as
They accompany
individual
the planet
clusters,
like
but
quiet
they form
companions,
denser sections
never
in this
lagging,
cosmic
never
web.
approaching.
Our Milky
This is
Way
loyalty,
part of the local
stability,
supercluster,
eternal
where we're
escort.
located not in the very center,
Some objects
but
have
rather on
names
the
from
quiet
mythology.
periphery, away
Pluto,
from overly
Eris,
turbulent zones.
Makemake,
It's like
Haumea,
living far from the center
Sedna,
of a metropolis,
all named after
less
gods
noise,
and spirits
more
from
chances
different
for a
cultures.
peaceful life.
This is
Between
a
the
connection
threads of
between
galaxies
ancient legends
lie
and modern
huge,
science.
almost empty regions,
Even in cold,
voids,
icy worlds
cosmic
live stories.
emptinesses.
Names
In them
that
there are
carry
10
meaning and
times
beauty.
fewer galaxies
Each
than
name
the
is a
universe
tribute
average.
to culture,
Imagine
memory of
soap
myths.
bubble foam.
The
Matter
belt
collects
preserves
along
volatile
the walls,
substances,
and inside are large
methane,
transparent cavities.
nitrogen,
Only
ammonia
instead of soap foam,
substances
there
that
are
on
billions
Earth are
of
either
galaxies
gaseous
here.
or liquid,
and instead of bubbles,
solid there.
space spanning
They
hundreds
don't
of millions
evaporate,
of light years,
don't escape,
sometimes
are preserved
threads and
for billions
clusters
of
form
years.
entire walls. Flat
This is a
structures
reservoir of
enormous
volatile
length.
elements that
Some
may have
of them stretch
participated
for
in
hundreds
forming
of
the
millions,
atmospheres of
or
inner
even
planets.
billions of light years.
The belt is a warehouse,
There's the Hercules
an archive
Corona
of
Borealis
substances
Great
from the
Wall,
system's
which
youth.
occupies about a tenth of
There
the
is slow
diameter
evolution
of
of
the observable
surfaces
universe.
Cosmic
And you and I
radiation
belong
and
to the closer
micrometeorites
wall,
slowly
where the
change
Virgo
the
cluster
surface of
and
objects.
our local
But these are
supercluster of
processes that
galaxies
last billions of
lie.
years.
You can
During a
imagine
human
that
lifetime,
you're looking
nothing
at
will
these
change.
walls not from
This
the
is
inside,
slowness that
but
calms,
from afar,
that reminds.
like at a pattern
Not
on a
everything
carpet.
has to happen
At such a
quickly.
distance,
Some
Everything
changes
looks
require
smooth and
eternity.
flowing, without threat.
Objects
Just
don't
a
have
beautiful
names,
structure.
only numbers.
If you take
Most
a cube
discovered
of space
objects
measuring
still have
several
only
hundred million
temporary
light years on a
designations,
side,
sets of
it will
numbers and
contain
letters.
approximately the same
Only
number
the
of
largest
galaxies,
have received
clusters
names.
and voids.
Thousands
wherever
of
we
worlds
place
are
this
waiting
cube.
for someone to give them
At
names.
such scales,
to
the
acknowledge
universe
their
can be considered
existence.
homogeneous.
This reminds
though
us,
at smaller scales,
in the
it's
universe
very
there are
patchy
more
and
things than
uneven.
we manage to name.
This gives a sense
more
of
beauty
stability.
than we can encompass.
In the big picture,
there may
the
be
view is
oceans beneath
approximately
the surface
same
there.
everywhere.
On the
And it's
largest
precisely
objects,
against this
where there is
background of
sufficient
uniformity that
gravitational
special
pressure and
structures are
possibly
clearly
radioactive
visible.
decay,
Walls,
beneath
threads,
the
and
thick
our
icy
galaxies.
crust, there
Some
may
walls
exist
are
a liquid
so
ocean.
large that they exceed
This is not
the scales
confirmed,
predicted by
but
standard
possible.
cosmological models.
Imagine,
They seem to tell us
beneath the
theory
frozen
is good,
surface,
but we
in
need to tweak
darkness
the
and
details
silence,
a bit more.
water flows.
One such structure
Warmth
is
is
tens
preserved.
of times larger than the sizes
Life there
where,
is unlikely,
according to theory,
but
the universe
possibility
should already be
remains.
completely
The
averaged
belt
out.
reminds us of boundaries.
This isn't cause for fear,
Standing
but
on
rather
Earth,
an invitation.
it's easy to forget
Space
that our
still
system
holds
has an
mysteries
edge.
for us.
The Kuiper
The
belt
modern
is a
picture
reminder.
says, in
There
the
is a
early
boundary.
universe, matter
There is
was
an edge
very
to our
uniform,
home,
with barely
beyond which
noticeable
begins the
ripples
space
in
between
density.
stars.
This ripple
But
was
this
reflected
boundary
in
is
the
not
brightness
sharp,
of the cosmic
not
microwave
frightening.
background
It
radiation.
is soft,
a
blurred,
quiet glow
full of
that
icy
fills
worlds,
space.
slowly dancing
Over
on the
time,
border of light
gravity
and darkness.
gradually pulled together the denser
This is
areas,
a beautiful edge,
and they grew,
a calm
forming
transition
first
to
small
infinity.
clumps, then galaxies,
There
and
reigns
then
deep
clusters.
silence.
Like from
Without
barely
atmosphere,
noticeable
there is
waves
no
on
sound.
water, a large,
Even if something
peaceful pattern
exploded,
is
you
gradually
wouldn't hear
born.
it.
For
Silence
this structure
is
to
absolute,
grow so quickly,
complete,
over 13
unfilled.
to 14
This is silence
billion
that doesn't
years.
exist on Earth.
Ordinary matter alone
Because even
isn't
in the
enough.
quietest places,
That's
there is
why
wind,
cosmologists
there is
introduce
life,
dark matter,
there is movement.
invisible substance.
In the Kuiper
that
belt,
doesn't
silence
shine
is
and
real,
doesn't reflect
primordial,
light, but
cosmic.
has gravity.
Objects
You can
preserve
imagine
primordial
it as an
composition.
invisible framework
Unlike
to which
planets that have
ordinary
experienced
gas sticks,
heating,
and then stars
differentiation,
are born in it.
changes.
Without this invisible
Objects in the
foundation,
belt
the
have hardly
universe would remain
changed.
almost empty.
Their chemical
without
composition is
galaxies,
close
and
to the
without
primordial nebula.
Take another
These are
slow
time
breath in.
capsules preserving
You
the
can
recipe
imagine
for
that
the
all dark
system's
matter
birth.
is simply a soft
Studying
pillow
them,
on which
we
stars
read the
are
book
scattered.
about how it all
They lie
began.
peacefully.
Gravitational
Nothing is rushing
disturbances
anywhere.
created
Everything
structure.
unfolds on
The
incredibly
shape of the
long
belt,
time scales.
distribution of
Dark
objects,
matter is judged not
resonances.
by light, but
All
by how
this
it
is the
curves
result of
trajectories.
gravitational influence
Galaxies
of Neptune
rotate as
and
if
other
they have
planets
more
over
mass
billions
than
of
can be seen
years.
from the stars
The
and
giant
gas.
planets
And
played the role of
gravitational
sculptors who
when
shaped the
massive
belt as we
clusters
see it.
curve the path of light
This
from
is an
distant
example of how
galaxies,
gravity
shows
creates order,
the mass
structure,
there is as
beauty.
if several times greater.
Some objects
This
are dark
is like
as coal.
a transparent glass
Albedo
object.
reflectivity in
You
some
don't see it
bodies is very
directly,
low.
but you
They
understand it's
absorb
there
almost
by how
all
it
light
distorts
falling
the
on
image
them,
behind
reflecting
it.
only a few
Dark
percent.
matter helps galaxies
This makes them
hold
nearly
together.
invisible.
Without it,
Dark
stars
spots
and
against the
spirals would
background
have
of
long ago
stars.
flown apart
They are
in different
there,
directions.
but hard to see.
It's like invisible
Even in the
glue that
visible
gently
universe,
holds
there
everything
are
together,
invisible things.
not compressing.
There is no
but not allowing
radiation
it
from
to
the
scatter.
sun there.
And
Solar
thanks to
wind,
this,
a stream
our
of
Milky
charged
Way remains
particles
a
weakens
peaceful
with
home
distance.
for billions of
In
stars.
the Kuiper belt,
and
it
for
is
you
already
and
almost
me.
imperceptible.
We live approximately
Objects are not
26,000
irradiated
light
as inner
years from the
planets are.
galactic center.
They are protected
This
by
is
distance,
a distant suburban
isolated,
district of the
calm.
spiral disk.
This is a
in one of
quiet
the
place
arms.
even by cosmic
There's
standards.
less harsh radiation.
The Kuiper
here.
belt is a
Fewer
place for
chaotic
reflection.
collisions and
When you
explosions
think
than
about this
closer to the
distant,
center.
cold,
You could
quiet
say
edge
we live
of our
in a
system,
quiet outskirt of a large
perspective
stellar
comes.
city. And
Our
it's
daily
precisely
worries
because
seem
of this
smaller.
that life has a chance
Problems
to be stable.
dissolve in scale.
Try to feel
There,
what it's like
at
to
the
live in a
edge,
quiet
among
district
icy
of
worlds,
a huge galaxy.
reigns calm that
like your house
reminds
stands on a
the
quiet
universe
street,
is vast,
far from the highway
and we are
where
a
it's
small
always
but
noisy.
wonderful part of it.
In the center of
There
our
is
galaxy,
room for
there's
everything.
a super
There is time for everything. And in this, there is relief. Nobody hurries there. Orbits last centuries, changes billions of years. Light travels for hours. Everything is slow, everything is measured. In a world where we constantly hurry, the Kuiper belt reminds, haste is not natural. Nature doesn't hurry, it simply exists, moves at its own pace. And in this pace there is wisdom, beauty, calm. This is a reminder of the beginning. Every object there is part of what we were all born from. Earth, you, all living things, everything was once part of that same cloud of gas and dust, now frozen in the belt. We are connected with these distant worlds. We are from one source. This is a connection through time and space that unites everything in the system. There may be new life for knowledge there. Every mission, every discovery in the belt opens new knowledge. We have only begun to study this edge. Ahead are decades more of research, discoveries, amazement. The Kuiper belt is a promise of the future, the unknown waiting for us, patient and calm. This is the edge that reminds of home. The Kuiper belt is the edge of our system, but it is still ours, still under the sun's gravity, still part of what we call home. It shows that our home is bigger than it seems, that there is room for everything, for planets, for life, for icy worlds at the edge of silence. And knowing about this edge, we better understand where we live, how unique and majestic our solar system is. The Kuiper belt is a calm reminder. We are part of something large, beautiful, and infinite. We too have traveled a long way today. From the warm fires of Earth to the icy suburb of the solar system. From familiar planets to distant, nameless ice crystals at the edge of light. From noisy orbits to a place where everything moves so slowly that time almost freezes. And now, as you fall asleep, as your eyes grow heavy, imagine you are standing on a small icy world somewhere in the Kuiper belt. Beneath your feet hard, cold ice older than Earth. Around boundless darkness, pure and quiet. The sun far, far away, like a bright star in the black sky. Overhead spills the Milky Way, not a streak, but a glowing sea of stars. Here, objects slowly orbit the sun, like thoughtful dancers. Each ice crystal, each world silently holds within itself the story of the beginning, those same fragments of matter from which both Earth and you were once born. Your breathing slows. Inhale the icy calm of the edge of the system. Exhale, daily worries dissolve. Thoughts become light, like dust in interstellar space, and slowly settle in the darkness. You are not alone. You are connected with the sun, which holds this distant belt by its gravity, with the planets inside, with comets that sometimes come to visit us, with all those distant world crystals quietly orbiting nearby. You are part of this large, calm pattern. May your sleep be deep and cold quiet, like night at the edge of the Kuiper belt. May your dreams be slow, soft, like the orbits of distant dwarf planets. May there be many stars in them, a bit of icy glow, and very much calm. Remember, somewhere far, far away beyond Neptune, icy worlds continue their quiet dance around the Sunday, and this dance is also part of your home. Sleep deeply, sleep calmly, under the black sky without atmosphere, under the distant light of the Sunday, under the silent care of the Kuiper belt. Good night.